In a world of instant gratification, where success is often handed to those who are born with silver spoons in their mouths, it is refreshing to come across a story of triumph against all odds. Today we will be looking at the rags-to-riches tale of one such individual who rose from humble beginnings to become a force to be reckoned with in the fashion industry. So buckle up and get ready to be inspired by the story of the man who built LV. Before we delve into the story, remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, so that you never miss out on our fascinating tales. Part 1. Born into struggle, not style. We often associate luxury brands like Louis Vuitton with wealth, glamour, and sophistication. But have you ever wondered about the man behind the brand? How did he go from being an unassuming boy to creating one of the most iconic luxury brands in the world? Well, before we dive into the glitz and glamour of his success, we must first take a trip back to his humble beginnings. Louis Vuitton was born on August 4, 1821, in a small village called Untold in the northeast of France. Despite his meteoric rise to success, Louis's early life was anything but luxurious. He was born into a working-class family, and his father was a miller and carpenter, one of those guys who fixes things for a living. Despite being a hard worker, his father couldn't afford much for his family, and they lived in a small house with a dirt floor. Make matters worse, Louis's mother died when he was just 10 years old, leaving his father to raise him and his 3 siblings alone. Can you imagine the kind of responsibility that was thrust upon him at such a young age? At the tender age of 13, Louis decided to leave home and make his own way in the world. Back then, there was no such thing as child labor laws, and many children were forced to work long and dangerous hours in factories or fields. But Louis was determined to make something of himself, and he wasn't going to let anything stand in his way. He set off on foot and walked hundreds of miles toward Paris with nothing but the clothes on his back and a suitcase full of dreams. As he journeyed through France, he came across rolling hills, bustling towns, and dirty farmhouses. Each day was filled with new experiences and challenges that tested his resilience and determination. But through it all, he kept moving forward, driven by the hope of a better life in Paris. But why Paris, you might ask? Well, Paris was the fashion capital of the world, and Louis had his sights set on becoming a hat maker. But to get there, he needed to complete a grueling 7-year apprenticeship. Would he be able to endure the hardships of the journey and still achieve his goals? Or would the challenges along the way be too much for him to bear? Stay tuned to find out how Louis overcame all obstacles and emerged victorious. Part 2. The boy who carried bags before making them. Upon arriving in Paris, the 13-year-old Louis started working as an apprentice for a luggage maker. For the next several years, he carried, repaired, and packed trunks, while learning the art of creating high-quality luggage. However, during this time, he was just considered another boy in the shadows, unseen and unnoticed. But Louis didn't let this setback dampen his spirits. Instead, he observed everything and took mental notes, learning the ins and outs of the trade from his mentors. He paid attention to every detail, from the stitching to the packing techniques used by experienced travelers. He absorbed all the knowledge like a sponge and saved every penny he earned. While other apprentices were content with simply completing their assigned tasks, Louis was always eager to take on more responsibilities, wanted to prove himself and climb the ranks as quickly as possible. And despite the physical demands of his job, Louis never complained. He understood that hard work and dedication were the keys to success, and he was willing to put in the hours to achieve his goals. As the years went by, Louis became known for his exceptional skills and attention to detail. His ability to pack trunks efficiently and securely made him a favorite among travelers, and his colleagues began to take notice of his talent and work ethic. Part 3. Innovation that challenged the elite. After years of learning and perfecting his craft, Louis was finally ready to put his skills to the test and strike out on his own. With his meager savings, he opened his own box-making workshop on Rue des Capucines in Paris in 1851. But Louis wasn't just any ordinary box maker. He had a vision to revolutionize the way people traveled. While other box makers focused on functionality, Louis focused on form and function. He designed flat-topped trunks that could be stacked on top of each other, making them easier to travel with. This innovation quickly caught the attention of the elite, including royalty, who were accustomed to traveling in style. One such royal was Empress Eugenie, wife of Napoleon III, who became one of Louis's first high-profile clients after she ordered a set of trunks for an upcoming trip. Word of mouth spread like wildfire, and soon Louis was receiving orders from all over Europe. His business was booming, but Louis wasn't content with just making boxes. He wanted to create something truly special, something that would make him stand out from the competition. And that's when the iconic LV pattern was born. He created a unique canvas material that was not only durable, but also featured a distinctive pattern that was nearly impossible to counterfeit. This innovation not only helped to protect his customers' belongings, but also became a symbol of luxury and sophistication. As Louis's reputation grew, so did his clientele. He became the go-to box maker for the rich and famous, including kings, queens, and celebrities. His workshops were filled with the sounds of hammers and sewing machines, as he and his team worked tirelessly to fill orders. It seemed as though Louis had achieved his dream of becoming a successful businessman. But little did he know that there were still greater heights to reach. Part 4 LV wasn't just a brand. It was a rebellion. Behind the scenes, however, there was more to Louis than met the eye. He wasn't just a successful businessman, but a visionary who was changing the game in the fashion industry. Unlike his competitors who were motivated purely by profit, Louis was driven by a desire to create the perfect bag. He believed that every stitch, every lock, every curve of the leather had to be meticulously designed and crafted. This obsession with perfection was evident in the quality of his bags, which were not just functional, but works of art. They were so well made that they could be passed down from generation to generation. Louis wasn't content with just following trends. He wanted to create his own, setting him apart from the competition. He understood that, in order to succeed, he had to constantly innovate and push the boundaries of what was possible in the world of luxury goods. But it wasn't just about the bags, it was about the whole experience. Louis wanted his customers to feel like royalty when they carried one of his bags. He paid attention to every detail, from the texture of the leather to the color of the lining, to ensure that his customers felt like they were carrying a piece of art. This level of attention to detail and craftsmanship soon paid off. People from all over the world started to take notice of Louis and his bags. They were not just a status symbol, but a work of art that spoke of the owner's refined taste and appreciation for quality. Louis Vuitton had become more than just a bag maker. He was a purveyor of luxury, a creator of art, a true innovator, who had changed the face of the fashion industry forever. Part 5. A legacy written in silence and sacrifice. Throughout his illustrious career, Louis remained a humble and private person, rarely seeking the limelight. Instead, he allowed his work to speak for him, which is a lesson we can all learn. Often in today's world, people crave recognition and fame. But Louis understood the value of letting his work do the talking. He was content to work diligently in the background, knowing that his creations would speak volumes about his talent and dedication. This approach paid off in spades as his bags became highly sought after by the elite and his name synonymous with luxury and sophistication. Despite his immense success, Louis never forgot his roots. He remained connected to his craft and continued to design new and innovative bags until his passing in 1892. What began as a small box-making workshop in Paris had turned into one of the most iconic fashion empires in history. And it all started with one man's dream and a suitcase full of hope. Part 6. From orphaned craftsman to fashion royalty. Today, LV stands as a symbol of status, wealth, and sophistication. But few know of its humble beginnings. The story of LV is not one of gold, but of grit, determination, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. It's a story that reminds us that one's background and circumstances don't define their potential. Louis Vuitton's journey from a poor, orphaned craftsman to a fashion icon is a testament to the power of hard work, dedication, and a refusal to give up in the face of adversity. He dared to dream big and worked tirelessly to make his dreams a reality, proving that it's possible to achieve greatness even when starting from the bottom. So if you're ever feeling down or think your dreams are unattainable, remember the story of Louis Vuitton and let it inspire you to keep pushing forward, no matter how tough the journey may seem. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed the story of Louis Vuitton and the lessons he taught us about pursuing excellence and never giving up on our dreams. If you want to hear more stories like this, please stay tuned and subscribe so you never miss out on our latest uploads. Thanks again for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.